And so that is my main concern right now, is that if Bitcoin takes out that prior June low of 24.8K, let's say if it goes down to 22K or 23K, my worry is, where does that leave the altcoin market? Because
Bitcoin, $100,000 or $0. Bitcoin has been on a wild ride this year, and the future is uncertain. In this video, we'll take a deep dive into the technicals to see what's next for the world's largest cryptocurrency. Is a $100,000 Bitcoin price still in play? Or could we see a crash to $0? In this video, we'll analyze the death cross, the risk levels, and the overall trend to give you our best prediction for Bitcoin's future. So, if you're a Bitcoin investor, or just curious about what the future holds for this revolutionary technology, be sure to watch this video. Subscribe to our channel for the best Bitcoin analysis and predictions, delivered straight to your inbox. And let's get started.
the upside. This time, we got a death cross. I'm arguing that we should be prepared for an outcome where in the short term, we rally into the death cross, right? We're actually at the 200-day SMA right now, right around 28K. But what if the overall trend remains intact of a slight downtrend? That's exactly what we saw in 2019, in fact, was a death cross, a rally into that death cross, followed by a lower low in November, right? And so that is my main concern right now, is that if Bitcoin takes out that prior June low of 24.8K, let's say if it goes down to 22K or 23K, my worry is where does that leave the altcoin market? Because there's very little liquidity right now in the cryptoverse. And I think the altcoin market, and I've said this many times, I know I've come on your channel for the last year and a half, and we've been talking about how risky altcoins are. And yes, I do want to say to your audience, I am fully aware that some altcoins have done well, and that's always what happens, right? There's always a few, right? There's always a few that do well, but most of them have not, right? Most of them have bled significantly. And, just to, can I take a minute to just kind of give a few examples?
Please, wait. Before we get to altcoins, can I ask one question?
Sure.
At what price of Bitcoin do you become a buyer? I know you've been nibbling this year, but what do you have to see, what metrics-wise or price level-wise, for you to be a buyer?
So I normally look at the risk levels. So there's a couple of them that we can look at, actually, that I think are relevant. So one of them is, let's see if I can find it. It is this one right here. So what I've been doing this cycle is I just DCA when this is below 0.4 risk. Currently the risk is 0.484. So it's a little bit too high for me to be interested right now. But I did pick some up late last year and early, maybe a little bit early this year, but that is mostly what I've gotten. And I haven't bought any altcoins, right? So I've missed out on all the altcoin rallies, but I've also feel like I've preserved my capital because a lot of these altcoins have just not really gone anywhere. So this is one metric I look at. And I'm curious if it's going to play out like how 2019 did, right? Where we went into a low risk level, then we came back up here, and then we sort of just slowly faded down. This was a recession, by the way, right? When we got another blue dot, when we went back to these lower risk levels. There's another one that we can look at. This one is the total risk. And this is built on the price risk, the on-chain risk, and the social risk. And I think I've spoken, to your audience before and you about the social risk. And in fact, one of the reasons the social risk has remained so resilient is because of how many views your YouTube channel gets. You're a very popular person in the cryptoverse. But this is what this metric looks like, right? The total risk. And so you can kind of see that this risk metric is relatively low. But if we see, sort of a taking out those June lows, and that could take you down to these lower risk bands. And I think, and I've said this a long time, right? Like DCA Bitcoin is usually the best strategy, right? Like DCAing Bitcoin over a long enough period of time, especially when the risk levels are low, right? I mean, even at 28K, as long as you have a long enough time frame in mind, you're probably going to be fine, right?